Welcome back, wooers.
Wooed up,
Wooed up.
wooed up.
We are back for season 2.
Season 2, gang, gang.
And this is Kayla,
And that's Tiffany, and we'll be your hosts for this incredible season.
where we talk about spirituality and bringing it down to reality.
I know that's right, honey. And who are we sponsored by this season?
We're sponsored by House of Rhythm. Ooh. These beautiful mics come from them. We sound so lovely.
Crispy. We're super excited to be sponsored by House of Rhythm this season. They're an incredible yoga studio and wellness space in San Antonio. Tiff has had the luxury of offering there. I've had the luxury of offering there. They are a wonderful, incredible space.
And attending there. And I know that we're all looking for a healing space where everyone feels welcome. You show up however you are, whatever stage you're in, and that is definitely a space for that.
Hell yeah. That's why I'm super excited to be sponsored by House of Rhythm. We're definitely going to be talking about all of the magic that happens there in that space. So while you guys watch this season and you're wondering how and why we sound so good, just know it's courtesy of them.
We hope you enjoy this season. Thank you for coming back, and thank you for being here.
We'll see y'all soon. Boop, boop. We're angels.
We're the light.
We're the lights.
Is that what we're talking about today? Is light and dark.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So I personally want to talk about light and dark because I feel like it's been coming up in my personal life a lot recently by way of speaking to others. Mm-hmm. And I know you've been here for a couple of the conversations that have happened. Do you want to explain what I mean when I say light and dark?
No, I'd love for you to go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Why?
Because I think that there's so many different ways that we can take this conversation. You know, we can talk about light and dark as in positive energy or negative energy. We can talk about light and dark as in like angels or demons. We can talk about light and dark as like good or bad.
Way to go. Way to define it for us.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. I mean, light and dark is in the spiritual realm. You can look at it in all the ways that you just mentioned. There's just like the word God, you can call it goddess, you can call it ancestors, you can call it universe, you can call it source. There's different words, but we're all talking about the same thing.
Right.
You can call it God, you can call it devil, you can call it demons, you can call it dark entities, you can call it dark energies. It's all the same thing. It's all energy. And energy is, I mean, the table has energy. You have energy. There are other realms that we cannot see that are all energy. Mm-hmm. And so it's this two sides of the coin of all energy has two sides of every coin. And it can be, you can call it good or bad. In my mind, there is nothing bad, quote unquote. There's only love and what has come about from that true essence of love, that frequency of love. And you cannot have one without the other. You cannot have the darkness without the light or the light without the darkness, however you want to call it, whatever you want to name it. And so that is what's been coming up for me recently in a variety of ways. And it's been really interesting to me because as somebody who, me personally, who I've been on this spiritual journey for however many years, and I talk to you who's also been on the spiritual journey, and your journey is different than mine. And we're doing this together, but it's just so interesting to me because the things that you experience within the spiritual realm or the 5D and above realm, and when you talk to me about them, like I experienced some of those things, and we've talked about it on other episodes, yes, but you're seeing them in a whole another light.
Yeah.
Literally.
But
I think before I ask you about your experiences, I want to just talk about why this is important.
Yeah.
To me, this is so important because we keep talking about like warfare and a new world and, we're being split. And what I'm seeing and what I'm learning and what I'm feeling is this spiritual warfare. And as above, so below. So everything that's happening within is happening on the external world for you. And so it's like this duality of battling within yourself, but also watching it play out in the world, like the good versus evil and the things that are crumbling, and people like us who continue to try to do the love and the light and the compassion and the healing work and helping people and guiding people while the world is literally crumbling in the dark depths of what you could call hell. And I think it's so important that we bring attention to this matter, that what you see on the outside and what you are bringing to the external world is going to be a direct reflection of what is going on internally. Mm-hmm. And so it all starts again with you and choosing you and how you want to look at things that are going on,
right? And
how you want to handle those things that are going on that you experience. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to usher in the new world, is for you, what that new world's going to look like for you personally as a listener or as one of us. So that's why I think it's important. But I want you to explain kind of like what your experiences have been when it comes to that.
When I think about light and dark, what immediately comes to me is not just this idea of like love. For me, it's like love versus fear.
Yeah.
Right. And instead of something being like a negative versus positive, like everything existing in its own duality, it's more so how high on the frequency chart, if we consider everything a Likert scale, right? And up here is love and down here is fear. Where is it that emotion, that action, that thought, where does it sit on the Likert scale between love and fear? Mm-hmm. I think that when it comes to the world that we live in currently, a lot of our decisions as collective consciousness is coming from that more so bottom layer of fear, moreover than love, whether that be like our conversation we had on our last episode, for fear of, being in survival mode, whether that be based off of preconceived belief systems that have been implanted and propagated within us from before we were even brought to this planet. I think a lot of our choices that we make as a collective exist from that lower scale. So that's one way that I can think about the separation between light versus dark. What inherently comes to me whenever we're talking about having this conversation that I felt apprehensive about and even speaking to is this notion of light energy versus dark energy, and high vibrational energetic beings, whether that be ascended masters that have passed, your spirit team, the archangels that exist, the angels, right? The high vibrational energies that are here to support us along our highest path for the sake of goodness.
And they literally, just like to kind of put like the 3D on it or the physical on it, they literally can appear as literal light.
Correct.
Like a golden light or whatever color light resonates with where you're at.
Yeah. Or if you've seen the biblically accurate depictions of angels and how they look freaking crazy. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Yeah.
With like 20 million eyeballs and like all of these.
And a bunch of wings.
Wings,
right? Yeah.
And all of that. Yeah. Yeah. So they can appear differently and you can feel them. You can, I don't want to use the word hear them.
No, you can.
But you can.
Yeah.
The clairs.
The clairs, yeah.
The clairs, yes.
I'm laughing also because, sorry, I'm so excited about this topic. I love this topic so much because this is the woo-woo. This is the shit that I'm in.
Yeah.
But when I was meditating the one time and it was like, turn to your right and there's an angel there. And it was like the hottest fucking man. And I was like, oh, who are you? What's your name? And I'm just like thinking like they appear how it's best going to resonate with you if you have that clair where you're seeing.
If you're tapped into that level of connection. And let's talk about the clairs real quick.
Yeah.
So we have clairaudient, right?
Where you can hear.
Clear hearing.
Like, so it's kind of like that thing where people are like, are you hearing voices? And it's like, yeah, actually I am. But it doesn't have to be a different voice. It can just be, I know you were talking about it a couple months ago of like, I can tell that it's not me or my voice because it's like, you should do this, or like you da 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 da. It's like someone's talking to you.
Yeah.
And it's usually, if it's light energy, would be something that's very like loving or like not ego based.
Exactly. So you can tell the difference there. There's clairseeing, which you have.
What is that? What is the actual word though?
Is it clairvisual?
No. It's not claircognizant. That's an inner knowing. Let me just Google it real quick. We can keep talking about clairsentient. I have that. That's where you can smell. And we can talk of like for dark energy or dark entities or dark spirits that are something you might be experiencing in the 3D realm, in this realm here, this real world right here.
Yeah.
It can smell like rotting cheese. It can smell like
sulfur. It can smell like a big old pile of shit.
Literally.
Yeah. Or when it comes to your ancestors, it could smell like your grandmother's perfume. It can smell like, the baking that you loved and craved so much when you were a child, and the way that your aunts would make it for you who since passed, right? There are a bunch of different ways that spirit can connect with you and ensure that you are aware, either who or what is attempting to communicate with you.
Oh, clairvoyance.
Clairvoyance.
Where you can see and have visuals. And I recently learned that the visuals are different for everyone. Like Sophia the other day was talking about how it's like a movie screen for her. Like it looks like she's actually watching a movie. And for me, it's not that. It's like this. It's like there's a lot of sheets covering the movie screen. And so it's like I can just only see like some shadows moving. Or like I know that they're there, like claircognizant that they're there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a actual thing that I've seen that I've talked to you about. My
capybara.
My ancient capybara. And the angel that Gabrielle.
Yeah. Or what you saw in the sound bath while you were meditating.
It was you, right? Yeah. I can't remember what that was, though.
And you were in like a forest of sorts.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
I felt like I was Ariel in The Little Mermaid, like in my boat floating down the river, and there was just like these weeping willows like coming. Okay. Back to the clairs. So actually I was wrong. Clairsentience is the feeling. And then
which can result to like when people say that their gut feeling, like it's like it's an intuition, but it comes from the body.
Yeah. Or like when you're talking to someone and they're like, oh, I just got chills when you said that. It's like you're being lit up with confirmation that what they just said is accurate.
You can feel that also. I feel mine with the tingling down my spine. Like anytime I get a bolt of energy down my spine, then I recognize that something is being communicated or confirmed to me. Yeah.
The smelling is clairalience or clairalience?
Clairalience.
Yeah. That's happened to me before where like an ex will have left the place and none of their stuff is here. Their cologne's not here. Nothing is here. It's been like years even. And then all of a sudden, like I'll smell them and it's like so obviously them. And I'm like, well, they're probably thinking about me, or there's some energetic connection there at that moment.
And you know what's funny? I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I realize like as my journey continues and as I go deeper into connection of self and connection with Gus, God, universe, source, then the deeper and the more expansive this connection to the clairs becomes. When
and
I
we
was,
all have
and
clairs.
we all have them. It's just a matter of how accessible they are to you, like how open you are to either recognizing that these things are occurring for you, or working to continue to establish and develop like a muscle your ability to connect into those clairs. But yesterday, one of the yoga classes that I was teaching, and I was just walking up and down the street, and I could smell the one person who has been in my energy like crazy. You know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Literally smelled him. And I'm like, dude, respectfully, I'm like, no. But that's just another way of the knowing.
Yeah. You need a cord cutting.
Cut
do. That energetic.
Yeah, I'm working
like,
on that.
connection.
So if you're listening and you know who you are, just know, snip, snip, honey.
Okay, so we discussed the clairs.
Is that all of them?
Yeah.
And then the inner knowing. What is that?
The claircognizance.
Claircognizance. So that's just when you know something and you're not sure why you know what you know or how you know what you know, but it's just this, like, I know that this is truth, or that this is going to happen, or this is whatever it may be.
Yeah. And I think that's like, that one alone is where all of our like witch wounds come from, where it's just, we've always had this like inner knowing, like, I just know, like, just please trust me on this. I just know, but we can't present evidence or give any reasoning beyond, like, I just know, you just got to trust me.
Yeah.
And then, like, they're like, you know, of course, we all know the witch trials and witch hunt stories from there, but yeah.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of different clairs. There's so many different ways that you can access the spiritual realm, or the layers of our reality that are not, you're not able to naturally like perceive with your eyes, right? And well, I just want to say I'm feeling so much resistance towards having this conversation, because what it is that we're going to discuss and what continues to become brought into my understanding is this path that I don't personally want to go down, but I know that I have to. And I'm just kicking and screaming and kicking the can along the road by not having to, because it's something that makes me feel uncomfortable. And so that's where I'm feeling a level of resistance in having this conversation, even though I know that it's very, very important, because for the reasons why I feel the way I feel, this is the reason why people turn their backs on spirituality, because it can be scary. And so that's just another reason why it's just even more important that we have this conversation.
Yeah,
but yes.
Exactly. And I think because there are other people out there in this world, and we've witnessed this so many times, especially once you established what your gift is. By the way, that is your gift.
Yeah.
They've come to you and said they also have that gift.
Yeah.
And I think that it is a true gift, because we'll get into it in a bit, I'm sure, but like, you need to be able to speak out on it and feel comfortable speaking out on it, as that is your truth.
Yeah.
Because you are here to do the work and to help lead others who are experiencing the same thing. Otherwise, others that are experiencing that are going to feel outcasted and weird and like they need to shut it down. And then if they shut it down, they're shutting down their gifts that they can be using for the good and the betterment of humanity and healing community and the collective consciousness.
Yeah.
So what is your gift, babe?
So when we're talking about light versus dark, and we have both had our experiences in connecting in with our clairs, being able to recognize when there is an essence or spirit that is nearby, whether that be angels that are communicating messages, whether that be ancestors that are communicating message, or whether that be entities that may be of a darker
on the other side.
Yeah, on the other side. And that has absolutely been a journey for me that I have had to, and still continuing to this day, trying to understand and accept, being able to feel the presence of dark energy, being able to see the presence of dark energy, being able to hear and smell all of it. Just recognizing when dark energy is around. And it has been something that I've experienced since childhood. And it really has been a journey of trying to step away from that level of awareness, because it is a scary thing, or I always understood it to be a scary thing. I don't think that anyone, and I'm sure that our listeners, I'm sure there are a handful of our listeners that are listening, will be listening to this episode, that are like, oh, wow, yeah, that has been my experience as well. Especially when you don't know what's going on, it can be very scary.
And I think it's twofold too. It's not that you're just seeing dark energies or smelling them or feeling them. You're also seeing energies or entities that aren't dark per se. So can you kind of explain that? Because for me, that's why I say it's your gift, because that's not something that's come about for me.
Yeah. So the way that things appear, whether that be visually, or I'll just speak to visuals. When it comes to the frequency that it exists on, we talked about light energy earlier, it being quite literally resembling light or an orb or a glow. When it comes to dark energy, it is, what did we call them?
From Harry Potter?
Yeah, from Harry Potter. What are those called?
Dementors.
Dementors. So it is this like,
it's like a
smoke blob of just darkness.
But you also,
and when it comes to energy that is not necessarily dark, they can just appear as shapes and figures to me. I have seen what looks like a person that's just like standing there, it's not a person. It's like their form is there, but they're like opaque. And it's like you can see them, but you can see past them. And it's just there for a moment. I've seen them in homes. I've seen them out and about. I've seen them at restaurants. I've seen them, all over the place. I was literally walking to my home and was just walking, went to go put my key in the door, look over, and literally saw man's legs. Like I was looking and then looking up, I could see the feet, I could see the legs, I could see the legs walking. I got scared, so I like turned my key and I looked back and it's gone, So I can tell the difference between whether or not something is dark, whether something just is, and whether something is lighter energy. But no matter what, it still makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I think you're still, like if we think back to when this kind of started to come back online for you, and it was at the Reborn retreat, which we have 2 episodes that talk about that and that experience for you and for me.
Yeah.
And your willingness to be like, okay, like this is clearly something that's trying to come back online for me. And so honoring that, but like also being very clear in your communication of like, this is what I can handle at this time. And it has slowly started to come back online for you. I don't know what it's like for you at all, because I don't see these things. Like at the retreat, I saw that. And then when we were in Costa Rica, like I saw when people's faces would like kind of like
blur,
morph.
Yeah.
Like, but like it was dark for sure.
Yeah. I think that's called scribing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I've seen that, but like I have never really seen like an apparition or what, like a ghost, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And I also, so I sat in meditation this morning. This is why I kind of want to talk about it. Something that came through for me was that there are certain people in this lifetime that have been given certain gifts and they're protected so that they can utilize those gifts for good, and help bring the light to the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are other people that are shielded from it, because if they were to be operating in that and having those visions, then their journey or path and what they're meant to do would be different. They would be taken off course. And those people need to be shielded. You know, a lot of people talk about like, oh, protect your kids versus shield your kids. Like there's a difference there. And it's usually you want to protect your kids, like educate them on it, but teach them how they can protect themselves on whatever they've been educated on. Whereas shielding your kids is acting like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And it came through for me that you are being protected, and I'm being shielded, because I'm not meant to do this correspondence between these worlds in that way. It's all one world, but like these dimensions in that way, and be able to communicate with them in that way. And so I don't know what the hell that means and what that looks like, but I just found it curious that like your gifts are so blatantly online for you, where you can see that. And I think other things are coming through more clearly now as well. I think as you let down, you're kind of like your guard with it's becoming more, it's like starting to roll out. The carpet's being rolled out a little bit more.
Oh yeah. And I've told Spirit, like, I mean, there was one point in time where, I mean, you want to talk about protected. I believe full-heartedly that I am very much guided and protected. And I think maybe now more than I ever have been in my journey. But, and Helene will tell you too, I mean, if you're not protective and mindful of your energy and your journey, and if you are existing in these spaces alone, you never know what is around you, especially if you're not aware. Like if you're not awakened, if you don't allow yourself to see these things, or if you don't have the experience of seeing these things, you never know what's around you. And so it is a blessing, and also simultaneously what feels like a curse, because you do become very aware. And when you become aware, then that level of awareness requires you to do what you need to do to protect yourself even more. And when I was initially starting out in this spiritual journey, I was, working with tarot and, working with a friend doing Reiki, and she herself was very, 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 very powerful. And she had the gift of sight. I remember literally being in my car one night crying, having a moment. And the next day she calls me and she's like, "Hey, I had a dream. Are you okay? I had a dream that you were in your car, you were crying. Is everything okay?" And she could see things too. And we were just like babies along this journey and had no clue what we were doing, really. There was no grounding our energy. There was no protecting the space. There was no calling in our spirit team and our guides to protect us as we were exchanging massive amount of energy, especially with her and I both being so powerful and not necessarily knowing that. And and then she looked over and saw two entities that were attached to me. And that was during one of the hardest times of my life. I think I was probably the most depressed that I'd ever been. And I had to call Helene to get her to remove them. And it was a huge experience. And I remember the very first breath that I took after we were finished with our session. And I felt like I could take a full, complete breath. It literally felt like there was so much weight that was lifted off of my shoulders. And during that time, I was living in a house where, when we had first moved there, my mom, my sister, and I, one of my sister's friends, mothers, very, very religious, but very spiritual, had a dream that she needed to come over and cleanse the house. And she had never been to our house, didn't know anything. She just was notified that she needed to cleanse the house, and she came over to the house and she was cleansing the house, speaking in tongues, and it was a whole thing.
Wow.
But in that house, there was so much activity. I was seeing things all the time. I was hearing things, children, I mean, all the time. Things were always moving. We were losing things. And it wasn't just me that was experiencing it. My mom was experiencing that as well. My sister was too. Whether or not she wants to admit or remember is up to her. But yeah, it was all during that time. And actually, I had right around that time, I was experiencing bad nightmares. And I would wake up with bruises all over my body. I had one dream where I was like in between states of sleep. So it felt like I was sleeping, but I was awake, but I was asleep. And I woke up and there was this entity that was right next to me by my bed. And she was like grabbing my arms and squeezing me. And I was feeling like I was like having a seizure. It was very scary. And so after I had that session with Helene, I pretty much told God that I needed it to stop. I didn't want to see anymore. I didn't want to hear anymore. I didn't want to feel anymore. It was too much. And yeah, I kind of stopped diving into spirituality during that time because I was terrified. I didn't know what was happening. And during my youth, I remember seeing shadows outside of my door. You know, I remember hearing things and having weird dreams. And then as I got older, that kind of stopped until I started reconnecting into spiritual practices. And this conversation is so incredibly important because if you do have gifts that you are unaware of, when you go down this path, those gifts will start to come online. And you have to know how to protect yourself. And you have to seek out education and people who have had these experiences before so that you know how to manage and maneuver through them. And even though you, Tiffany, you know, may not see as much as I do see, you have seen things, you have seen the darkness. And that alone can turn someone completely off of this journey and make them scared and run the complete opposite direction.
Oh yeah. When I saw what I saw with you, I mean, we talked about it in the other episodes, but we got our practices in place. Like every time we'd walk into the house, we were cleansing ourselves outside of the house and continuing throughout the years to develop our practices. But
yeah.
And I think, thank you so much for sharing. I know this is a hard topic for you to talk about, and I've kind of been trying to pull you to talk about it more and more. And I just think it's so important for you to share this because I know that you have such a gift and a light and you've experienced the whole like realm of it. So, like when you mentioned you told God or source, like, stop, I don't want experiences anymore. It stopped or
yeah,
yeah,
it did. It stopped. And I took a step back from spirituality and really just continued to focus on my yoga and working on maybe self-growth and developing and connecting with myself in a way that felt separate from spirituality so that I felt safer. And then it was when we had our Reborn retreat that really like kicked the door wide open for me. And, you know, when we got back, I mean, even in that room, you know, like the waking up from my sleep and the bruises and feeling something crawling on my bed while I was sleeping, like, and even now, like, I don't know what has happened, but even now, like, it's starting to progress more. where I'm seeing more, I'm feeling more. And I think as I become more confident in myself and as I become more connected with Source and my spirit team and my great grandmother, who I know is here with me, who I know has done this work throughout her life, and she is, through lineage, probably a huge reason why I have this connection or gift or whatever you want to call it, that she's protecting me and that she's trying to communicate with me so that I can continue to dive deeper, for sure.
And be protected and led and
be
safe.
Yeah, safely guided throughout this whole thing. But now it just really feels like, I don't want to say like no matter where I am, but it just feels like it's just they're everywhere.
How often do you, whether it's like dark or bad, quote unquote, how often would you say you're seeing stuff? Or like smelling even, whatever it might be?
Yeah, I mean, like every day, every other day now.
Really?
Like even just where I was offering my sound experiences. I mean, there was at least 3 of them just like peeking around, like, what are you doing? It just like, and the energy themselves was not scary. I was just scared because I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, leave me alone. Let me do what I need to do,
Like you're distracting me and I'm...
Yeah, exactly. And just to be in that space alone, like as I'm like seeing these things, I'm like, ugh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not like, oh, hey guys, how are you? It's not a pleasurable experience for me. Or when I was staying at my sister's and I could smell them and it was darkness. And I'm like, you have got to get the fuck out of here, bros. Like I'm not open to your energy. I don't want you here. And I don't want you in my space. Leave, So it is now this difference between like stepping into my power and allowing myself to know that I have the ability to be like leave me alone, knowing though that they're still here,
And so you have this gift that's clearly online for you. And you're clearly being kind of like developed in a way to become more comfortable with it and to start to utilize it.
Yeah, it's the utilizing of it that I'm like, I don't know what anyone wants from me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what is required or being asked of me when it comes to seeing and connecting in with these things.
So something that I have heard over and over again from multiple people that also have experienced this, not like Sophia the other day, for example, and Naomi, our shaman friend that's in Florida, is asking them, what do you want? What do you need? And then negotiating with them or saying no. Or I think every time more that we've like had these conversations or that I've had these conversations with people is sending them the love and communicating with them in a loving way where you actually send them away with love. And that is the literal defeat of the darkness with the light or the fear with the love. Mm-hmm. Have you tried to do that before?
Oh, yeah, of course. As soon as we came back from that retreat, like any of the things come, I'm like, love you, but you gotta go. Love you, but you gotta go. And for whatever reason, that doesn't feel authentic to me. That doesn't feel like aligned. It doesn't feel powerful. It doesn't feel true. And I think that where I'm at right now, and it's not from an angry place, but it is from a place of asserting my power, of like, you are not welcome here and you have to go. And it's not from anger. I get frustrated if they keep coming back, but then, learning that it's like, okay, some energies have more claim to one space than another, like it's association with the space and not necessarily you. So that's something that I'm learning is like, okay, are these energies here for me or are they here just because they've been here, And if something's been there, then am I intruding on their space type of thing. Like there are still things that I'm learning, but I feel as though there's something that's more required, whether that is through communication, whether that is through connection, whether that is through what were the words that you used for conversation with Sophia? Like
asking what they want.
Yeah. Negotiating,
Yeah.
You know, I'm not quite sure about that yet, but I do feel as though I'm having these experiences for a bigger reason, and that there's something that I'm meant to do that's outside of banishing them or sending them love and getting them to go away.
What's coming up for me, and it continues to come up for me, and this, can I share?
Of course.
Okay. When you banish them or when you ask them to leave, that doesn't just like poof, they're gone and they've been defeated.
Yeah.
It's like they have to then go and find another place that they've never established themselves in, whether they're bad or just like entities.
Yeah.
Or another human, perhaps, like if you do a cleansing and it's like removing the entity from you, and maybe you don't cleanse the yourself properly, and so the entity's removed from you, but they need to find somewhere else to get their life source.
Yeah.
To me, they are still in this realm and able to communicate with people like you who, that sounds weird, people like you. I don't mean it in a bad way. It's a beautiful thing, and you're being asked to do some very powerful, scary ass work. So I understand the fear and like being like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And like, why me? I feel like we have that question a lot. Like, why did I choose this life? Like, why did I choose this one? But I think it's so important that you continue to educate yourself on what is going on so you know exactly how to do it properly. So it's like you're not sending this entity away to be attached on somebody else per se, but it's like you're sending it away with the knowledge that you've done what you can and with your education and your experience to rid it.
Yeah.
And I think that is literally the battle that's going on right now. The spiritual warfare that's going on right now is this love versus fear, or love and light versus darkness. And how do we as light workers or light leaders or whatever the hell name you want to call people that are here doing this work, that like you have this gift and clearly you're meant to use it. It's like, how do you walk that line between the dark and the light? Like, and obviously it's not that you're stepping over to the dark, but you are communicating with the dark, quote unquote, to be like, all right, you're here because you want something and you're not going to leave until you get this something. So what is this something? And can we negotiate on this? And then once you get that, you've made the deal and you go and you be like, kind of like how Sophia was mentioning, like someone she was communicating with said they wanted some help. And so she did whatever they asked or negotiated with them, not whatever they asked. But negotiated with them, but did it like outside of her house.
Yeah.
Like whatever offering that they wanted, it was outside of her home. And so it's like these entities are here because they want and or need something to disappear. And so it's like, what can we do with the love and the light, standing in our power, in our light, to negotiate, to defeat the darkness with that light?
Yeah, I think that there's just so much that I don't know about this side of my personal spiritual journey. And I think that there are so many different belief systems surrounding by so many different approaches that you can take, you know? And we have indigenous communities and indigenous folklore and the way that indigenous spirituality would say, hey, this is what this is and this is how to go about that, through shamanism and other forms. For me, I feel like I'm being called to really tap into my ancestry and my lineage and figuring out where my people are from and figuring out from there, how did they do this work? because I've tried to look into shamanism and it didn't resonate for me. And I think that the only way that I can really become more clear about what the next steps are is through intuition, yes, but education. And I think that, yes, intuition can guide you, but when it comes to this type of shit, you don't mess with it. You don't go in blindly and play and, oh, I'm going to negotiate with, you know, whoever the fuck it is that I'm talking to. And some of these beings have been around for a long time. The person that Sophia was working with, I pray to God I don't ever have to connect with that energy. I pray to God I don't. Or I pray that if that energy does come to me, that I'm prepared. Because I'll tell you what,
I think that's the prayer.
Mama's nowhere near ready. So these little small time whatevers that are coming my way, that's nothing in comparison to what exists out there.
Yeah.
And I refuse to communicate with anybody until I know how to go about that.
Right.
Because one thing I'm not going to do is think I know something that I don't.
Yeah. That brings me to this conversation that I had recently with somebody where their friends and family have been meddling, that's the word, meddling with like plant medicine, like mushrooms, and asking for connections to be opened and for dimensions to be revealed and portals to be revealed, and utilizing that medicine to get closer to whatever entities or spirits they're hoping to discuss or communicate with or whatnot. And
that just sounds like some white people shit.
She's actually Asian, I think.
Oh, girly pop.
But I think it's in all cultures. I think it is not just white people. I think it is all people who have dilly-dallied in plant medicine or maybe have these gifts but have not taken the time to educate themselves on their own personal ancestry or history of their people, and or they just love mushrooms and they want a good old time and a good old experience, and they have no idea what's about to come through whatever dimension or portal they're wishing upon. And I think you bring up a good point of, why am I going to be trying to communicate and negotiate with these people when I don't even know how to do that? And that is literally bringing up, you don't know what's going to happen because you've not educated yourself in that arena.
And not only that, you need to know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
You need to know who you're talking to. I believe that wholeheartedly. You can think that there are people that think that they're talking to somebody and they're really not talking to the somebody that they think that they're talking to. And that's why my whole journey, I have always stayed very focused in connecting to my light workers, because that feels safe for me.
Yeah. That came up in my meditation this morning of like, how do I know this isn't my ego? How do I know that this isn't a dark shielding itself as like light? Mm-hmm. Or like, how do I know that this is actually light coming in? And then that's when the conversation or the information about protecting and shielding, mm-hmm. and when it's love energy versus like, I guess at this point, you just know if it's a egoic or not. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to explain it more than that.
Yeah. Intuition is quiet and it's loving, and ego is loud and typically
self-serving
and protecting. Comes from a confirmation burp. Comes from a place that is rooted in false beliefs. It's not rooted in truth. It can be self-serving, but it's there to
protect you
in an egoic way, right. Not through real protection. It's like people can attempt to utilize logic as a way to protect themselves, but not all the time is logic actually truth or the right way, the right path. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can feel the difference. And it's like, if you have to, I don't want to say if you have to question, because I'm not saying that at all, but if you don't feel like you can discern within yourself whether you're connecting in with something that is of a high frequency or truth, then you should not be connecting. Not yet.
First off, let me say the reason why I was asking during my meditation, how do I know this is not my ego, and how do I know this is not dark shielding itself like it's a light and whatnot, is because so many of these conversations of light versus dark have been coming up in my field lately.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned like that girl who thought she had the light, angels talking to her, and then she come to find out it was like a dark entity. And we had like a really long conversation about this, which we don't have enough time for on this podcast. But that's why I was like, let me re-tap into, it's like this notion of like questioning yourself. Like just because you've gotten this far along on your journey doesn't mean that you always are going to be continuing on this journey on the same path and nothing's going to come in your way, whether it be your ego or some other entity that you aren't catching as something else, I guess.
No, when I was saying that, I was meaning more so like, for example, the people who are being silly, doing all these mushrooms, trying to like conjure up a portal. It's like any person with a level of like true understanding and discernment should be able to recognize how that's probably not a good or a safe thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
I mean it like that, not just simple as like, I'm grounding my energy, I'm connecting into my highest self, my spirit team. That is very different than intentionally going out and trying to seek this energy. For what reason? For what purpose?
I think a better question, or a better like, I guess proposed question for people who are touching base and being like, I am receiving information, but I want to make sure it's the right information or whatever it might be, is like, why are you seeking that information? And why are you utilizing plant medicine to seek that information? Like, why are you not able to connect into your own sober intuition and develop your own clairs without this need for the plant medicine? Don't get me wrong, I use plant medicine. I typically use it intentionally, and I believe it's a beautiful modality.
It's for healing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not something that should be the only way that you're connecting in. It should be like an amplifier after you've done the process on your own for so long, and maybe you're wanting help to clear or find out more information of your own. And just like people seek out like therapists or hypnotherapists or Reiki masters,
right,
you can also seek out plant medicine and plant medicine practitioners to help you go a little bit further in your healing journey. But if you are constantly relying on plant medicine for your connection, and you're thinking that you're doing this work by going into opening these portals and trying to go in these other dimensions, it's like,
that's just wild.
That's question. That's where you need to question yourself.
Exactly. Thank you for the clarification, or for verbalizing what it was that I was trying to say.
What you're feeling.
It's not to say that no one should connect into anything. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think that the way of the shaman, the way of the light bringer, the way of the person that walks between the worlds, who has this connection to the other, it is done through lineage, it is done through education, and it is done with a teacher.
Or a mentor.
Yeah. This is not just it's not just like something that you're like, I'm just going to go out there in the world and just try to figure out on my own. That is dangerous for you and for those around you. Mm-hmm. And so I say that to say, like, I have experienced that my own self. And so I warn people, if they are having these experiences, or they're seeing things, or they feel called into this journey, to proceed with caution and not to fearmonger anyone, but for people to see the reality of what this could look like and can turn into. And if you are not prepared for it, to know that I can understand why so many people are ridding themselves of spirituality for the sake of them thinking it's demonic and turning into religion, because they're seeing things that they weren't prepared to see, or they're having experiences that they weren't prepared to experience. It can be very scary if that's the reason why people are fleeting spirituality and moving into religion, thinking that that's going to be the saving grace. It's like, no, honey, just because you close your third eye doesn't mean that nothing's around you. You're just not aware of it, you know?
And that's what I love about House of Rhythm. Is because they accept all walks of people, whether you are spiritual or religious or none of the above. You are welcome there. You are accepted there. Yeah. And there's, like, you can experience sound healing there and not need to be spiritual. You don't need to be having the visions, and you don't need to be having any type of connection to source, universe, God, or religion to be able to experience the healing that goes on there, or the movement, the yoga movement, or even the connection to community. You can seek out and want community, like in the women's circles, just because you want to make new friends. It doesn't need to be because you're trying to find another person of the same religion or spiritual beliefs as you. It's come as you are and how you are, and you're accepted fully in that way, no matter what type of modality you're seeking out, for whatever reason you're seeking it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate the modalities there, because you can determine how woo-woo you want to get.
There is a woo-woo barometer.
Yeah.
And today we went very woo-woo.
We did.
We went very deep. But I hope that for the listeners, we brought it back into the 3D world, into this reality, like as much as we can.
Yeah.
Because it is, I mean, it's the merging of the different dimensions that is happening, and I think going to be coming more online, especially as people
become more awake,
start to acknowledge that they have clair senses, and that the more that you heal, the more that you become a clear channel.
Yes.
And the more that you become a clear channel, the more that your clair senses come online. And the more that your clair senses come online, the more that you need to be prepared for what is going to happen when those things come online. And I'm, talking about this actually has me a little bit curious, because in my meditation where we're talking about protection and shielding, I'm like, what's about to happen to me now? Like, I'm about to be like, bitch, you weren't being shielded. You just weren't developed in your clairs enough. And now you need to, like, get with Kayla, because she's been doing this track.
Join me. Please join me. Join me.
No, because I also remember, speaking of the clairs, when we were at the Reborn retreat and you had that experience, and I, like, sat up and had full body chills and even started crying. And I was like, you are meant to walk that line. You are meant to go between these realms and heal in those realms. Like, yes, of course, you're over here healing in the 3D. Like, we see that. We're a part of it. But, and I'm like this grounding force for you over here of like, let's get back in our senses. Let's start, like our tantric practices. Let's enjoy life. Let's be on the earth side. And because I think we both know, like, we've been brought into each other's lives for a reason, and we're the yin and the yang, and the balance each other out, and the dark and the light. But we're like doing this work, and if we both were in that realm, I think we'd be like, woo woo, bye bye. I'm here for you, sister. I'm here for you, baby girl. she's frightened.
This is what it looks like when you've been given a job that you don't want to do, but you have to do it anyways. but 'tis life, right?
I think you've done a really beautiful job. If you go back on like the Reborn Retreat episodes and like what happened since then, I think you've done a beautiful job of letting that roll out and letting that like being like, okay,
Yeah.
like I accept, but I only accepted this much right now.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at right now. Like I said, I mean, girl, just in my house, just last night, not last night, but the night before it. I mean, even my cats, like we're all looking. And I see something and I look and I'm like, mm-hmm. And then Jinxie's over there looking.
Really?
Yes.
I've been wondering that about my dogs. Like, do they see stuff?
Oh, I'm sure.
Because I know cats are energy workers.
Yeah.
And dogs are emotional workers.
Mm-hmm.
And so dog people tend to be like more emotional, I think. Mm. And cat people tend to be more like energy workers. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm like starting to that's one idea that I'm starting to like develop.
I could see that.
And so I'm like, do my dogs see these things and I don't?
I'll tell you what, I keep an eye on all of the fur babies, from your fur babies to mine to Victoria's, mm-hmm. my sister's, and to my other friends' fur babies, and I pay attention to what their eyes are doing, because I'm always like looking around, so I'm always like, and I haven't ever, like, maybe a few times I've caught them just kind of, but not very often. And I also feel like, given the places that I've been with them at, there haven't really been as many times where there's like, like here, there's been a few moments where there have been things that have occurred, where I haven't been around them and I've seen things, but when I'm here with them, I haven't seen anything for me to feel like they should be seeing. And the same thing in the Airstream. Like, we haven't been on property, and maybe they'd be looking around and I'm looking around. We're like all looking around together.
Have you seen stuff in the Airstream?
Not in the Airstream, no.
Okay, cool.
No.
On the property?
When it's nighttime on the property, in the far outs, it feels a little off sometimes. But like, I don't like to stay out there too long whenever it's nighttime and I'm out there, but even with the dogs. Not for fear of people, but for fear of things. And I don't know. I always feel like banshee type, like of yeah.
Is that is banshee like a dementor?
It's something different. It's
like a spirit animal.
Yeah, like creaturistic.
But like a bad spirit animal.
Yeah. Yeah. Like something that's more predatorial in nature. Yeah. Like instinctively
will attack.
Yeah. Type of thing. Like they're there for that.
Have you seen stuff in the other like realm, I guess, for lack of better terms to talk about this, that is not like human or like dementor, like animal maybe?
I haven't like visually seen something like that, but there will be times where I'll like look up, or like I'll sense something and know that it's more like that in nature. You know what I mean? Like, have you seen Insidious?
I don't think I have.
Okay. Well, there's this entity in Insidious.
And that's the vibe that it gives?
It gives that. Yeah. That I'm like, And I can't see it.
Have you
started? I feel it.
Have you started reading Akatar yet, or listening to it?
No. Okay.
I'm like the more that like I go along in this healing journey, the more that I'm like, okay, wait, I think we actually this is real life. Like this book actually is just real life.
Yeah. I have it. I'm waiting to receive it on Libby, because that's where I listen to my audiobooks.
Did you have to request it?
Yeah, but it's a long wait, girl. Everybody's out here trying to listen to that fairy smut.
Yeah, you know it too. It's good as fuck.
Yeah, trust me, I'm waiting my turn.
I might have it in the room. The first book. I'll give it to you if I do.
Trust me, I'll need a palate cleanser after this conversation. That's for sure.
Wait. And once again, thank you to House of Rhythm for allowing us to sound this good and to have our own equipment. We can like actually record our stuff on our own and learn it and utilize it and just grow.
Yeah.
And just like continue to build our foundation for this podcast and for believing in us and our message. And yeah.
Grateful for the journeys, the highs and the lows, honey.
The light and the dark. You can't have the dark without the light and the light without the dark, baby.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that it's you.
I'm just kidding. It's okay. If I could pass the gift, I would ping pong it to you with that shared brain cell that we work with. I really would. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope that for anyone who is having a similar journey or experience that's similar to mine or to Tiffany's, and you need some support, or you just want to, be seen and
heard and
accepted and know that you're not crazy. If you are crazy, then I got the same kind of crazy, honey. So, and that's even while I was on my antidepressants, I was still going through my stuff. So, connect, reach out. If you want to talk further about this topic, I'm here, and I'm happy to talk to you guys more about it on an individual and private level. And I look forward to talking about something different next time.
Thank you so much for being so vulnerable and talking about something so scary with everybody. Yeah. I know it's easier for me to talk about because I don't experience it at the level that you do, but I also find it so profound and powerful. And I'm also so proud of you for how far you've come. And I know you're going to do big things and help people in a big way because you are brave enough to speak on it.
I appreciate that, babe.
Love you.
Love you.
Love y'all.
Love you, wooers. Bye.